There we go. Hey, good evening, my friends. How are you? Welcome to another edition of Wednesday Night Live. Randy, good evening. How are you, buddy? Nice to have you along with us. Hello, John. Plans have changed. No company tonight. Ted, appreciate you being along with us on this edition of Wednesday Night Live. Hello, Craig. My good friend, always a pleasure. It's a lot warmer tonight than it was last night, isn't it? Jerry, thank you. Thank you for joining us. I do appreciate it. And we'll see now if I set it up on loop or if I didn't. Oh, I did not. Perfect. That's what I wanted. I did not want it to be on loop. Anyway, my friends, hey, Ross, no company tonight or company later? Ed, I got your voicemail. I will give you a call tomorrow. Tomorrow. I was screwing around here at the last minute getting that ZR2 post up. They got company tonight, eh? Hello, Cliff. Hello, Jerry. Michelle, always a pleasure. Bernie, good evening. Not yet, Ross says. It's coming, though. Company's going to be here. I was a little bit late because I wanted to put that post up about the ZR2, my Garber Chevy ZR2. If you're on Facebook, I would encourage you to check out that post. I'll also put something up on Instagram later, but nobody is watching us from Instagram right now because it doesn't work that way. I can't go live on Instagram as well. Paul, good evening. Captain Todd, nice to have you along with us on this edition of Wednesday Night Live. My name is Mike Avery. I'm here every Wednesday night. 2 weeks from tonight, Amy Trotter of MUCC will join us. I want to ask her about the consent decree debacle, fiasco, however you want to look at it. We'll talk to her about the governor's State of the State address, where the governoress, Gretchen, what is her name? Where she talked about, not once did she talk about wildlife issues or tourism, but she did talk about gun control. Yeah, it's easy to do that. Bill Pyle's birthday is today. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Bill. Happy birthday to you. I hope he comes on tonight. Hey, Tim, good evening. How are you? Lost Glove Farms, appreciate you being along with us as well. Bill Pyle's birthday. He must be about 35, maybe 36 tonight. Hello, Jim. Thank you for joining us. Well, you said it, Bernie, not me. I didn't say that. I can't believe you would say that, Bernie. I don't know about liar. I just think the way she shut down the state over COVID should have been a crime. And the way she didn't fix the damn roads and reelected her anyway. But you know how I feel about that. Something I want to talk about tonight, the weather. It was cold yesterday. It was cold this morning. It got warmer today. The forecast calls for it to be cold, right on through the weekend. But I had Michigan's meteorologist, Mark Torregrossa, on the show today. He says, I realized it was just a slip of the fingers. Hey, Bruce, good evening. How are you? Mark Torregrossa says, once this cold spell snaps, it's going to get warm and it's going to stay warm. He says, wintertime's over. Hey, Louis, thanks. Yeah, that new Chevy does look awesome, doesn't it? Man. Bears Outdoor Guided Adventures. Good evening, Bears. I don't recognize you on here before, but thank you for joining us. I do appreciate it. That new truck is beautiful. I like it. I don't like the mileage, especially when it got so cold and the bigger tires, a combination of things. But I'll take those 35-inch tires and maybe lose a mile a gallon or so anytime. Tim says he votes for spring soon. I don't think you have to worry about it. I think it's done. Hey, Dina, how are you? Now, Torregrossa did say, maybe into the end of March, a little bit into April, it could be cooler than normal. But he said that's cool for March. It's cool for April. He did say that it was going to be wintertime again. How warm? He said the 40s. Well, we got your welcome, Nick. I'm on live right now. Will the groundhog see his shadow? That's a good question. That's a good question. Just need to get our ice derby and then it can get warm. When's the derby, John? When is the derby? Okay, some things I want to talk about. Obviously, oh, by the way, if I didn't say it, and I think I did, welcome to the month of February. The weather, what's next? I don't know. February 18th. I don't know, John. We just got ice on Hubbard Lake. Stop with that talk. Ed, I think you're going to get ice, and I think it's going to be gone, according to what Toro Grosso said. No problem. I'm talking to Nick Grillo right now. He forgot it was Wednesday. Nick Grillo of Michigan Brand Meats, michiganbrand.net. The weather certainly has changed since I was a kid. We don't get, I mean, listen, I'm not buying into the whole global warming thing. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a meteorologist. I don't know. But 15-day forecast has highs of 40. Yeah, you're right, Craig. Nick Grillo, he said he just used his Rapid River knife at home. Such a great knife. It's funny you would say that, Nick, because it seems like I was just texting you about that. Here's my Rapid River. It's in my pocket all of the time. I use it constantly. I use it every day. And it needs to have a new edge put on it. Chris Durson of Rapid River is going to be on the show. He hasn't been feeling too good the last couple of weeks. I'm going to get on the show here real soon. Jim says, checking in from Chile, Tennessee. Aditya, how are you, buddy? Nice to have you along with us. How are things in your world? Aditya, do you see the post? I don't know if you're on Facebook or not, but I just put a post on Facebook with the truck all done now. I'll put something on Instagram here tomorrow. Bear says he's guiding on Lake Superior 5 to 8, depending on where I'm at. On 5 to 8. I don't know what that means. Guiding on Lake Superior, but here's the part I don't get. On 5 to 8, depending on where you're at. What does that mean? You only forget what day it is when you're retired, and Nick can't say that yet. No, Nick is still working. He's working hard there at Michigan Brand. Okay, Ross. Leaving for Florida in 4 weeks, he'll have a secret bidder for the 4th. You, Ross Elliott, are making me mad. Making me mad. Because, 5 to 8 inches. Thank you. He's guiding on Lake Superior, 5 to 8 inches of ice, depending on where you're at. I think you nailed it, Ed. Okay, so Ross Elliott is heading down to Florida on March 3rd. March 3rd. Our Trinity Monitor Wild Game dinner is Saturday, March 4th. It won't be the same without you there, Ross. It just won't be the same. Yeah, I figured that out now. Inches of ice. I got it. It's a little dender. It's been a long day. But eventually I got it. Good evening, Brian. How are you? Nice to have you along with us. Ross Elliott is someone nicknamed the Bear Whisperer. Jim says, and Jim's from Tennessee, although I think you were a Michigan guy, weren't you, Jim? He loves his Rapid River knives. This one right here is mine. There are others like it, but this one is mine. And the way I know that, and this is dirty, I realize that, this has my name on it. Where are you? Come on. Focus. There. It has my name on it right there. And it is a Rapid River knife. This one is a mammoth tooth handle. It's actually cracked. If that bothered me, I could send it back and have them fix it. But it doesn't bother me. You did see it, eh? It does look awesome. It really does. Julie, how are you? Ross says he'll still win an auction. Remember who the auctioneer is? I am ultimately in charge that evening of the live auction, Ross, and I can change your fate. Garden City, got it, Jim. Now I'm putting that together. Excellent. Speaking of that Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner, can I show you something? This flyer right here. Does this have the QR code on it? Oh no, that's the old one. Let me let me find the new one and put it up. That was the old. Here it is, right here. Yeah, let me export one photo. Export. I want to show you this here, but I got to get the right one. Present slides. This one. Is that the right one? Nope, that's the wrong one. It's the wrong phone number on it. I'm trying to get the right one, and I apologize. Let me get rid of that. I told you I was screwing around tonight late putting up that post. That's the wrong one. Is this the right one? Yes, this is the right one. Export. Don't you just love watching me screw around like this? Sometimes I act like I know what I'm doing, and then sometimes I don't. Present slides. I'm going to have to post it later. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. No, I'm not going to. It's got her cell number on it. This is what you want right here. Hey, Uncle Johnny, how you doing? What did Nick say? He's excited to see the African hunts this year, but he's eyeing the trip with Johnny in the UP. You want the walleye trip, Ross? You can fish with me for free. You know that. Uncle Johnny's going to be there with us. Craig is the guy responsible for the African safari. Leave him some fish. All right. I had an image. Let me see if I can find it one more time here. I had it. No, I don't. Now, you see that QR code right there? If you scan that, it can get you tickets for the dinner. I checked on tickets just before I went on the air, and there are 33 left as of an hour ago. 33 tickets left as of an hour ago. I bet you are busy with the Twins. They're a handful, aren't they, Johnny? Especially when you're our age, although you are older than me. Some of the things that we're auctioning off on this trip, this dinner. African safari. I would be better off just to pull up an African safari. A bow hunt with Bill Piles of Ohio Bow Hunting Outfitters in October, when we will be down there. A bear hunt in either Red Oak or Newberry with Gary Morgan. A bear hunt in Newberry District, or a whitetail hunt with Johnny Bowler, the Bear Whisperer. Well, Johnny, I'm just being truthful, right? It's not like I'm telling a lie here. I'm just being truthful. A predator hunt with Matt Schock. A salmon fishing trip on Lake Michigan with Paul Schlafly. A walleye fishing trip on the Detroit River with Mark Pananzek. A walleye fishing trip on Saginaw Bay with Jeff Godey. A shoulder mount. Yes, they are. Yes, they are, Ed. Michigan brand products for a year. Every month you get a new shipment of Michigan brand products. How cool is that? Good evening, Jim. Jim will be there with us. I should say Captain Jim. A walleye fishing trip with me on Saginaw Bay. A Saginaw River cruise with me and my wife Denise on the Angler Quest. Food and drink provided. Not cigars. You got to bring your own cigars. Unless you bring me one, then I'll share. I think we're going to have a dart and crossbow. I mean, just a bunch of stuff. And the thing about this is, and a bunch of guns too, by the way, a bunch of guns. Oh, a youth hunt on private land by my buddy Scott Hand over in West Michigan. No, Jim, it's not. But I thought we talked about, well, we did. The auction is going to be online as well, but not the live auction. Jim, the situation you and I talked about with the certain somebody is preventing that from happening this time, but I think we can count on it next year. Ross, the live auction will not be online. The live auction is only live, but yes, the other stuff is online, and you don't even have to be there to get in on it. I will post details on that as we get closer. Brian, are you going to be there? I didn't know that. Nice. Or if I did know it and you told me, I forgot about it. I apologize. So anyway, what you want to do is call 989-662-4891. Don't call right now. Call in the morning. Call in the morning. Wait till about 9 or so, till Lisa at school there can get things calmed down. 989-662-4891. Or there is a post on the page here. It's going to be a few posts down from this live show with the correct version of the flyer. And you can scan that QR code. If you got it up on your laptop or your iPad, just scan it with your phone and it'll take you right there. I will, Ross, but I don't have it. I mean, it's out there, but I don't have it yet. I will eventually, but not right now. So anyway, that's Saturday, March 4th. We've got like 33 tickets left out of 400. And we went on sale Monday morning at 9. Oh, by the way, Wild Game Chef Extraordinary Dixie Dave Miner is cooking. This has become a pretty cool event, a new venue this year at the Great Hall. We've got lots of room. Really looking forward to it. Okay. You still have, if you did not apply for one of the limited quota Michigan turkey hunts, you have until midnight tonight. You can still do it. Now, you might say, well, why would I want to do that when I can get ZZ or 234 or one of the other hunts? That's fine. But if you are really looking to hunt a specific area in one of the limited quota hunts, it's not a bad idea to put in for it. You can do it online right now when we're done, michigan.gov/DNR, or use the mobile app. Since I get ZZ, which is Southern Michigan Private Land Hunt, and it goes for 6 weeks, I don't worry about it too much. Although I did go online and actually apply for ZZ just to make sure I'm going to get it, because it would absolutely break my heart if I wasn't turkey hunting this spring. So I will be turkey hunting this spring. Shortly after that, I'll be going on the springtime bear hunt in Ontario with Ron St. Louis. There may well be a new crossbow in my springtime hunting future. I'm shooting a Darton Toxin 100 and I like it a lot, but I'm feeling the need for something else, something new. I'm not speaking out of school here because I know they talked about it at the ATA show. Darton is coming out with a new crossbow. It addresses some of the concerns I had with the Darton crossbow. At least that's what I've been told. I've seen a picture of it. I haven't seen it in person. I would love to be able to hunt turkeys this spring and springtime bear with a new Darton crossbow. If it's not out yet, and it doesn't look like it's going to be, I will likely be getting myself a new crossbow, probably a Raven or most likely a 10-point. And I know it's going to cost me a few bucks. I do know that. But, you know, it's everything's expensive these days. But these new crossbows are real. What I want is a little bit longer crossbow. I don't run a real tight, compact one. A little bit longer. I want to be able to cock it and decock it. What else? I told you the truck is done. Yeah, I know. Yeah, when I turkey hunted out there 2 years ago, Brian, I discovered that field out there. And actually, I think there's a pasture too that's just north of us that they travel. And believe me, I watched a lot of birds go gobbling by and walking by the edge of the fence, which was property we didn't have access to. Maybe you do. I've also got my buddy Doug, has a Christmas tree farm. Ross, you know where it is. He's got a Christmas tree farm about a mile from the house here. And he lets me hunt there too. And that's hard to pass up because it's literally 10 minutes. I mean, 10 minutes from the time I get in the truck here till I get out there. 10-point Viper S400. You love yours. They're nice. The new crossbows are wonderful. They're beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Jim, you said that this morning. The Excalibur Assassin, it has an internal crank and decoys, decocks as well. Gotcha. That's what I'm looking for. I don't think I want a recurve limb crossbow. I realize for a lot of reasons they make a lot of sense. They're bulletproof. They're tough. You can change the strings on them. You don't have to worry about timing. You don't have to worry about all that other stuff blowing up in your face. I get it. I get it. But I don't feel like if I went to an Excalibur, it would be a big improvement over the Darton that I'm shooting now. And if I'm going to change, I feel like I want a big improvement. Just as soon stay with Darton. If the new crossbow has what I'm looking for, and I don't know if it's going to. Love Darton. I've been shooting Darton forever. What else? What else is on your mind tonight? I've been blathering and Oh, here's what's. While you tell me what's on your mind, let me tell you who's on the Outdoor Magazine radio show this week. And I apologize for being kind of all over the place here. I was working on some things here at the last minute and it kind of threw off my mojo, but it's all good. My first guest on the Outdoor Magazine radio show this week. Oh, yeah, let's talk about that, Bernie. Remind me, we'll come back to that, and we'll come back to the guy who admitted he's an unethical hunter and who had poached a bunch of deer. In fact, we're going to do that right now. I can come back to the radio show later. The folks at WSGW, I was in there today to record my radio show, and they had read the story about the kid who cut the guy's tree stand straps, and the other guy from West Michigan, I don't know, Kalamazoo or something, who admitted to poaching a bunch of deer. And the people, warm weather, Jeff, you know it, the people who were listening gave the folks at WSGW some grief. They said, why are you painting hunters in a bad light? Well, the folks at SGW were not. They're a very pro hunting station. I can tell you that for a fact. And the thing of it is, the DNR law enforcement division put out those news releases. So if they didn't want people talking about them, they shouldn't put them. What does John say here? The only thing about hunting with turkey bows or crossbows, I worry they'll run off. Crossbows have the strings that follow the target. You're talking about the old string tracker. I'm sure some of those are still around. I used to use them religiously. I haven't used one of those or seen one of those in a long time. It was the Game Tracker string tracker. It might have been just called the Game Tracker. And they were very good. Turkeys do run off. If you don't hit them in the right spot, and it's surprisingly hard to kill a turkey, they do run off. And I've had that happen a few times, but if you hit them in the right spot, they just flop and they don't go anywhere. Jim says he had a Parker. Do they still make Parker crossbows? Blew up in his face, no injuries, paperweight now, cracked limb. That would be scary. I actually had a Darton Toxin 150 that I cocked it, and it was so big and so heavy and so powerful. And that's when I was just transitioning from a recurve, and I was a little bit intimidated by the crossbows in general. Again, even though I've hunted with them several times, I wasn't comfortable with that kind of energy and torque a foot and a half in front of my face. So I couldn't shoot that one. John said he'd love that for a crossbow. Turkey hunting. I think turkey hunting is perfect for a bow, especially if you're hunting over decoys out of a blind. It's perfect. The only thing more appropriate for bow hunting, in my opinion, is bear hunting over bait. Bear hunting over bait is the perfect sport for a bow. Recurve, crossbow, compound, I don't care. It's the perfect sport because it's close and they're coming into a bait and you can hide in a blind. Pretty much same here, Tim. He got his first Game Tracker in the early 90s, forgot they existed. I kind of did too. And I was working with the Eastman Company and Game Tracker and Lenny and all those guys at the time. I forgot all about them too. Davina, it's okay if you're late because you are here, and I see you and Paul do have your tickets to the dinner. Thank you. Jeff had a Matthews Dreaming in 2007 Snapping 2, 12th shot. Matthews said it dry fired it. Yeah, right. And how did that, what happened? Did anybody get hurt? I can't see spending $2,000 on a new crossbow when I spend so much for my ice fishing guided trips. Going to skip to a recurve. I tell you what, Bears, the most fun I ever had bow hunting was with a recurve. I love hunting with a recurve. If you are disciplined enough to shoot it enough to be proficient, God bless you. Ed says he worked at Game Tracker for a number of years back then. I did not know that, Ed. Adrenaline, a Matthews Adrenaline. John says, what do I know? Just started turkey. What do I know? Just started with turkey hunting. Even veteran, experienced turkey hunters don't really know what they're doing sometimes. Johnny, it's on your end, buddy. You got to do something on your end to get a notification. I wondered where you were. I used a string tracker for years, but I wonder if with a crossbow it would blow out too much line out really fast. Maybe, possibly, because the compounds we were using back in the early 90s when the Game Tracker came out were a lot slower, like 190 feet per second. And these crossbows are shooting some of them 500 feet per second. That's a good question, Bernie. And I don't know the answer. 100 arrows a day. That is impressive. And that's what it takes. 100 arrows a day. We're going to take a bear with your recurve, gave it to a client because his bear disappeared. You're a good man, Bears. I have taken a bear with a recurve. It was in Ontario, and it was the most rewarding hunt I have ever been on. Jeff says it sliced his wrist a bit. They told the shop to take the bow immediate and send Lee a new one. Never heard another word from him? You didn't even get a replacement bow, Jeff? Johnny needs to buy a watch. Somebody buy Johnny a watch, will you? Johnny Bowler, with all the money you make on your bear hunting, you need to buy a watch. How did you send it, Johnny? I'm checking my text right now. And after the live, I'll have something in my crystal light too, Johnny. You know I will. It's like my Wednesday night live, post Wednesday night live. It's my after Wednesday night live ritual. John Callison came up with that. What do we call it, John? After Wednesday night? What did we call it, John? What'd you come up with? We haven't done it in so long because now it's rotten and crappy and dark that I don't get a chance to go out and do our after Wednesday night live, whatever John Callison called it. Okay, here's what's coming up Wednesday after live. That's perfect. Thank you, John. And once it gets to where it's light and warm, and after Wednesday night live, I can go out on the patio and smoke a cigar. I'll start the Wednesday after lives back up. Yeah, it's shocking that Johnny's over at Andy's. I know it. I can't even. So disappointing, Johnny Bowler. You are just, Johnny, you've disappointed me so many times this year. And you know what I'm talking about. On the Outdoor Magazine radio show. Ooh, I froze up. There we go. On the Outdoor Magazine radio show this week, Gary Morgan of Wild Game Dynasty joins me to talk about bobcat hunting. Now, Gary is one of the guys who donated a bear hunt to our Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner. Wednesday night live libations. Very true, Johnny. I know, poor G, he gets picked on all the time. Gary talks about bobcat hunting. He talks about bear hunting. He talks about turkey hunting. Then Mark Torregrossa, Michigan's meteorologist, again, Torregrossa is the guy who told me 2 months ago, he said, look for a weather roller coaster. It's going to be real warm and it's going to be real cold. He said, it's going to be up and down and up and down. He says January was one of the warmest Januaries ever on record in Michigan. He says, but after this cold spell we're in right now snaps, it's going to get warm. It's going to get abnormally warm to the point where he said wintertime might basically be over. In hour number 2, Jason Michalski, he's with the Dark House Anglers Association. If you're on my Facebook page, you've seen a picture of him holding up a 46.5-inch northern Michigan pike that he speared. We talk about the story of that fish and about spearing in general. Then Seth Herbst of the DNR talking about a new resource they have where it's online. They called it an app, but it's really not an app. It's a web page where they keep track of all the master angler fish since the early 90s. So you can go to this one website and see them all. This week's Ask Avery segment, I'll come back to it. And then a third hour, Mark Martin, Michigan's Mr. Walleye, talks about tournament fishing, his fishing vacation schools, Steps for ice fishing in unfamiliar lake, and then wild game chef extraordinaire Dixie Dave Miner has a walleye recipe. This week's Ask Avery question, and you guys helped me out with it this morning. It comes from Jimmy Tollfree. Now, I like people to send me an email to Mike at MikeAveryOutdoors.com. That's Mike at MikeAveryOutdoors.com. He's your hero then. He's my hero too, because when I talked with him, he was sitting next to his pool with 93-degree water pointing to the golf course behind his house. Yep. I like people to send me emails, Mike at MikeAveryOutdoors.com, with your Ask Avery questions. This time, though, what Jimmy did, he sent me a Facebook message, and I did get it. So I'm not saying they all get lost, but some of them get lost. So send me an email. He says, hey, Mike, I have a question regarding hunting in Canada. In Michigan, we can get an enhanced driver's license. My question for you, will that work, or do I also need a passport to hunt spring bears in Ontario with a compound bow? I checked with Jason Bittner, who is the Chief Customs and Border Patrol officer in Port Huron. He says U.S. citizens can present a valid U.S. passport card, enhanced driver's license, Nexus Century or Fast cards to cross back into Michigan. If you check with the Canucks, they say acceptable forms of identification for entry into Canada include a passport, a Nexus card, or an enhanced driver's license. So, Jimmy, you can use your enhanced driver's license. And the question I was struggling with this morning because I forgot is, no, you no longer need to be vaccinated against COVID to get into Canada, and you no longer have to show a proof of a negative COVID test. So there's your Ask Avery question in a nutshell. Okay, interesting question here. James says, Mike, I tried to post to your page, but it won't let me. How do I fix that? The only way I can come up with to fix that, James, is to get a hold of a guy named Mark Zuckerberg and tell him to quit screwing around with Facebook. Because just when we get it figured out, just when we know how to use it, just when we as content producers and you as people on Facebook, just when we all figure out how to use it, we all figure out how to communicate back and forth, we all figure out how to best share content and promote content, they come along and they change things for no apparent reason, for an arbitrary reason. They don't tell anybody how they changed it, and they don't tell you how to fix it because there isn't a fix. So how do you post to my page anymore? I don't have the slightest idea. I don't know. If you want to get a picture to me to put on my page, there are two options. One is to send me a private message on Facebook. That's not the best option because then the quality of the image is not that great. You can also send me an email to Mike at MikeAveryOutdoors.com. Then we have better image quality and I can post that. And this whole thing is a lot more work for me than it used to be, because it used to be if you posted to my page, I could click one button that said share and boom, it was there. YouTube did it too. It used to be on my YouTube channel that the videos were all posted chronologically, the most recent video, and then it worked its way toward the older videos. It's not that way anymore. Why these people feel like they need to continue to change things, I don't know. If you have a passport, you can also get a passport card for like 10 to 20. It's good for 10 years. It's just like a driver's license, but good 2.5 times longer. If you have a passport, you can also get a passport card. I didn't know that. Hey, Rob, how are things up in White River, Ontario, Canada, home of Ron St. Louis, Northern Wilderness Bear Outfitters. I'll be hunting with Ron in June, first week in June. I'll get back just in time for the Walleye for Warriors event. Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it. But you're here. That's all that matters. Yeah, it's driving you crazy, isn't it, Tim? Same thing with me. Okay, one more thing we got to talk about. I want you, like Uncle Sam, I want you, if you are interested in whitetail hunting out of state, I want you to think about joining us in Ohio with Bill Piles of Ohio Bow Hunting Outfitters. It's October 16th through the 20th. The cost is $2,500. I whispered that because he's giving us a price break. It's cheaper than, no, I'm not coming up with Ross. Ross is going somewhere else, I think, right? Is he hunting with you? Is that what it is? No, I'm hunting with Ron. That includes that price I just whispered, includes your lodging and your food and your stands and everything else. It just doesn't include your license. What time is the ham giveaway? There ain't no ham giveaway tonight. So will you be in White River to welcome the bugs? I'll welcome them, but I'll be sitting there with a thermocell in my blind and they won't bother me in the least. I won't even be affected by them. They will fly to the window of my blind, then they'll turn around and they'll fly back. Oh, Rob, you're much more than that. Don't sell yourself short, but I know you're joking. Okay. We've got a couple of openings. We filled it up for the last 2 years, but this year, some of the guys who went last year can't go this year. So we've got some openings. I'd love to have you go. We need to decide pretty soon, though, because Bill needs his deposits, which is half of the cost of the hunt, pretty soon now, so we can get things locked in, so we know who's in and who is and who ain't going to be with us. Send me an email to mike@mikeaveryoutdoors.com. I can give you the information, mike@mikeaveryoutdoors.com. Now, Bill is also giving away, it is October 16th through the 20th, Bill is also giving away one of those hunts at our big Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner and Auction Saturday, March 4th. So if you are there that night, you can bid on it there, although I suspect that you're going to have to bid pretty high and probably bid against my son, James, because I think he has plans for that hunt if he can get his hands on it. And I think his plans would be cool. Good evening, Gene. How are things in the middle of the state? Rob can come down. He's got a passport now. You didn't have one earlier, Rob? I didn't know that. I didn't know you were stuck there in the beautiful wilds of White River, Ontario. What else? I'm going to give this about 5 more minutes. Maker's Mark. I can taste it now. But you don't know for a fact that I don't have some in there right now. You could use it next year, Johnny. I'm quite sure. I'm quite sure. You know what? I'm going to check with Bill. I will check with Bill and find out for you. I'm quite sure you could use it next year. But here's the thing, whether it's this year or next, Bill did ask that whoever gets that trip uses it during the time that we are down there, which would be the 16th through the 20th, 16th through 21st, whatever it is. So before I let you go, I want you to, if you're interested in the dinner, and it's going to get worse, Jerry, because it's going to get warm now. Davina, my guy in White River, only does, he just does hunting. I've seen the pontoon. I think it's set out there all winter, Gene, but you would know better than I. Don's still getting pictures of bucks on trail camera. I'm surprised most of them haven't dropped by now because they seemed like they were dropping earlier this year. It's a full-blown bear hunting operation, Davina. NorthernWildernessBearOutfitters.com, NorthernWildernessBearOutfitters.com. All right, I'm going to wrap this one up about 5 minutes early. Don't forget about our Ohio bow hunt. His website is OhioBowhuntingOutfitters.com, OhioBowhuntingOutfitters.com. Get in touch with me. Send me an email to mike@mikeaveryoutdoors.com if you want to join us. The Big Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner is Saturday, March 4th at the Great Hall in Midland. I have a flyer posted on my Facebook page and my Instagram page. You can scan that QR code and get them online, or you can call 989-662-4891 tomorrow morning and get your tickets that way. And make sure you check out the post on the my new Chevy Silverado. It's done. It looks great. What do we do now? I think we do this one thing just to make it seem like it's like this whole thing is legitimate and real and semi-professional. Some days more professional than others. Like if I was a true professional, I wouldn't have been screwing around with that Trinity drafter. I would have had it ready to go. And I thought I did, but it's last year's. Then I thought I pulled the right one up, but it's the wrong phone number. That's all right. Let me check the comments one more time here. Make sure there's nothing I'm missing. All right, my friends. Have a good night. My name is Mike Avery. The website, MikeAveryOutdoors.com. Email address, Mike@MikeAveryOutdoors.com. Have a good night. Enjoying a little after Wednesday Night Live. And we'll talk to you next time.